This episode of Inside Golf Podcast is brought to you by Inside Sports Network.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Boston Capital Twitter, Steve, on the Hold the Green podcast.
All right, we are live. Tap in, birdie.
All right, Carson Young is here.
I bet Ludwig at 28.
Let's go. I bet
You
him
did
at,
too?
I bet him at 25.
Low sevens. I think there's some guys in here we like.
Harris English at 7,300.
Why the fuck would I not bet Rory?
Mr. Ryan Baroff, happy Monday. Victory
sir.
Monday, certainly for you and what feels like pretty much everybody else in the ISN Discord. But you were also on the Shikara train as well. You had that one anchored pretty tight to your chest as well, my friend. So congratulations on a phenomenal weekend of golf betting.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
I appreciate it. Yeah. Doesn't happen very often. And glad Minwoo got across the line. That was gross for a while.
Are you there? Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me?
Looks like I got frozen for a minute. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. Can you hear
second.
me as well?
Yeah, Andy, you're good. It's something on his end.
Holy shit. It's not me for once.
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine.
I know. I was like, I literally just hyped RB up with like my best sell job on why he's the greatest golf bettor in the world right now. And he hit me with like the most monotone, sad response ever. It actually broke my heart a little bit. I was so proud of you, man. I'm just so proud of you. You hit 2 winners last week.
We're back. We got booted.
I'm coming in here pumping you up with the fire and passion of a million suns. And as CTK mentions in the chat, you hit me with the yup.
I'm sorry about that. Internet booted out for a minute there, but yeah, the DP Tour, PGA Tour double doesn't happen often. Both were incredibly stressful. I missed most of Shikara because it was overnight, but that was as tight as Minwoo needed to make it, huh?
What were your thoughts on the final round in Houston, and what was going through your brain when Minwoo hit the water ball on 16? Because I was on an airplane, so I was somewhat tracking furiously on my cell phone. But I actually didn't have eyes on what it looked like from Minwoo down the stretch.
Yeah. So it was kind of a 3-step process, because the first process was, all right, like, we're fine. We're up by 3. We have control over the golf tournament. And then it's like, all right, Scotty's coming. He's got, 20 feet for eagle here. Okay. Then he hits it so far right that I'm like, all right, it's fine. He'll drop. He'll be on in 3, make 5 probably. And it then dawned on me that he hit this ball so far right, it didn't cross land. And he's essentially re-teeing, right? Which brings a 7 into play. Scotty's putting for 3. You can go from 3 up to 1 down incredibly quickly. So that was not a fun 20 minutes there.
What were your thoughts on Scotty's charge in the back 9? I think he made 4 birdies in a row at one point. And Rory, of course, had his moments on Sunday as well. Rory made like 7 threes in a row. I was a big time pre-tournament Scotty over Rory this week. And felt like for most of the week, I was sitting pretty darn solidly on that take of like, Scotty is going to kick Rory's ass this week, and the pendulum is going to swing back in the favor of Scotty over Rory as the best player in the world. I'm not sure that really happened, to be honest with you. Like, I know that Scotty beat Rory at the end of the day. He beat him by 3 strokes in the tournament. He outscored him certainly in DFS, but I don't know if I'm walking away from this week thinking that Scotty is a demonstrably better player than Rory McIlroy right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says more about Rory than Scotty this week, because Rory didn't play his best. And like, it was obviously skewed by that charge on Sunday. Like he 3-putted the first hole. And I thought he was going to finish like T48, right? It just felt like, all right, he's got nothing to play for here. His driver wasn't great all week. His irons weren't great all week. He just sort of got it around and then got really hot at the right time and finished tied for 5th. But Scotty was super impressive. Even during this slump, I guess we'll call it, that he's had, the ball striking still been there, and he finally putted really well this week. And you kind of knew it. He loves those greens. You know, he'll be very comfortable playing there. So I think it definitely said more about Rory in that even when he's not at his best, he is pretty much on Scotty's level right now.
I was going to ask, I think the question that appears to be developing, my buddy Kyle Porter tweeted this last night. I saw he actually just texted me a second ago on the exact same topic. So it's one I was thinking about this morning. And I think many golf fans and golf bettors alike are probably going to be forced to ask to answer the same question as it pertains to their Masters betting cards and who they choose in DFS. But does this seem like a 2-horse race to you for the Masters? I mean, does it seem like it is Rory and Scotty hovering and elevating above everybody else right now at Augusta? And what would be your early lean in terms of which one of the two you prefer, both in DFS pricing and if you had to make a bet? Because we're probably going to get, I bet you we get Masters pricing in like 4 days, 3-4 days.
Yeah. At some point this weekend, we'll get it for sure.
Yeah.
I would still lean Scotty. I think he's done
What's
it twice.
What's the price gap between them right now? And I'm not saying you have to give me the exact dollar sign. I'm saying what should be the difference in hundreds of dollars between the two? Because last week Scotty was $1,000 more expensive than Rory, and I'd be shocked if he's $1,000 more expensive than him at the Masters.
I don't think it should be more than 400. You talk about like a 12-3 versus 11-9, depending, like I assume they'll go down to the 5 range for some of the older guys and the amateurs and things like that. So yeah, maybe like a 12-3 to 11-9 gap feels about right. Maybe 500.
Yeah. I think it could be like pretty close to even, man, to be honest with you. I think it won't be, but I'm seeing right now in the betting markets, it's what, Scotty 5-1 and Rory plus 650, something like that.
If they're that close in price, Scotty will be higher owned, and I don't think it'll be particularly close. And it's not the type of event where you can probably play both in the same lineup. I mean,
no. And if DraftKings was smart, they wouldn't allow you to do that unless you wanted to play like Bernard Langer and Fred Couples and Angel Cabreras and what have yous. I think the sentiment is higher right now on Rory than it is on Scotty, to be honest with you.
I think there's some fatigue. I think people are rooting for Rory. I can say that. It certainly feels like more people want Rory to win than in previous years.
Well, I also this is the best he's ever played heading into the Masters. I mean, he's had 2 other years, 2012 and 2015. Kyle tweeted this as well, so shout out to him, where the strokes gained was nearly equal to the strokes gained that he's bringing into the Masters right now. And the Masters, to give people context, I'm not exactly providing a hot take here or breaking any news, but the Masters, 4 out of the last 5 years, has just been straight up won by the player that is playing the best golf leading into the Masters. I mean, you had Scotty 2 out of the last 3 years. The year that John Rahm won, he was at worst the 2nd or 3rd best player in the world at the time. Obviously, when DJ won the COVID Masters, he had similar incoming form to what you've seen out of Scheffler last year and Rory even this year, in the sense that he's won the Players Championship and another signature event. I gotta be honest with you, man. I think as it sits right now, Scotty and Rory are similar in price and similar in DFS ownership.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. It really depends how low they go in pricing. And if there's anybody down there, like we've seen this, at this event multiple times. We saw it with Spawn 2 years ago. We've seen it now twice with Corey Connors, where the guy wins right after pricing comes out and he's severely underpriced and overowned. So you could have that situation again.
Any other takeaways from Houston? It was definitely a good. I mean, I'm never going to feel whole until I hit an outright, but I had a very good. I had a very good week in DFS. A very good week with some big top 20s on Pendrith, Wyndham Clark, and Victor Perez. And at one point, it looked like I had the absolute stones with this Davis Thompson, Taylor Pendrith, Victor Perez core, and it was I mean, I did not have the Keith Mitchell and Davis Thompson Sunday performance that I needed. I had a good Victor Perez round on Sunday, but like I needed a big Sunday performance from Sahith, and a little bit more from Pendy, but I felt like I'm reading the board quite well and seeing it strongly. Any other big takeaways or surprises from Houston before we dive into Valero?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Gary Woodland thing was very cool. He played great. Obviously, he led the field in putting, which is quite a scene for sure. But hopefully, sign of things to come. We'll obviously talk about him here this week and moving forward. But no, I think one more point on Scotty and Rory, because everyone's looking forward to next week. I have 3 outrights that, I felt good on the numbers, but they're complete losers now. Like, it's a 2-horse race. I would not make a single Masters bet that is not Rory and Scotty. And even more specifically, the only thing that I will probably add at some point when odds come out next week is going to be a dual forecast. I just think there is such a high likelihood of one or both of them being there on Sunday. And I don't think anybody else can beat them, that all my money will be in that basket.
So you're betting because you are the king of the early card. I mean, you have your card out pretty much before anyone potentially not named Kyle, but you are saying that you're early committing to one of Rory or Scotty Scheffler as your pick to win the Masters. You just think they're elevating in a tier above everybody else right now.
Yeah, and you're never going to get that much value in the outright market anyways, where I would want to take them on. So again, there might be markets without them, of course, that you can look at, but I have futures on Will Zalatoris, Jason Day, and Sepp Straka. All, very good players, all very good numbers, but those bets are dead, completely dead. And I am not sinking any more money into that market against Rory and Scotty.
Yeah, I'm going to give you shit if you put out a card with 5-1 Scotty and then your futures.
But if I can get a 40-1 on the dual forecast, that
there
is
you
something
go.
That would,
yeah. And I think we should also mention that you are going to be at Augusta National as well, covering the Masters as both a fan and for ISN for the practice rounds. We have 2 contributors now for ISN going to the Masters. So we're going to have pretty much wall-to-wall coverage at ISN from the practice rounds. Are you excited, man? I mean, I could tell you a million things about my experience last year and some do's and don'ts, especially for the practice rounds. I will be honest with you, RB. And it's not just because the practice rounds are really fun for bettors in terms of you can pick up a lot of information that could be applicable to you making your decisions from a betting and DFS standpoint. I thought the practice rounds were 100 times more fun than the actual tournament days, personally.
Yeah, I do that for the Honda Classic down here. I always did practice rounds, but I've been once before, but it was on a Saturday tournament day. So this will be my first Monday practice round there, which will be fun.
Okay, can I give you my recommendation of what I would do?
Let's do it.
So I actually thought that I had so much more fun locking into a group and just following that one group for 9 holes as opposed to being camped out at one hole and watching certain groups go through. Like on Tuesday afternoon, I followed Hovland, Zalatoris, Sahith, which was like a little bit of absolutely everything in that practice round. Like Hovland was just an absolute scene that day. And that was the moment in time where I stopped talking about Hovland as a potential leverage DFS play for the Masters and moved all of my shares from Hovland to Ludwig. And then on Wednesday afternoon, the very financially detrimental move for me was following Rory and Ludwig on Wednesday afternoon when everybody else is at the par 3 contest. And of course, what I saw from Rory and Ludwig, I've told this story a million times, was fairly aspirational from a ball striking perspective. And it caused me to shift all of my Victor Hovland exposure for the Masters to Ludwig. Good. And also bet Rory McIlroy outright to win the Masters last year. Bad.
Yeah,
so
bad.
I just want to warn you, don't get super fooled by a phenomenal Rory practice round, because I got sucked into that big time last year.
I can hear that. Yeah, I certainly, I will certainly spend a lot of time at the driving range on Monday, but probably pick one group for the front 9, one group for the back 9 for sure.
All right, let's shift our attention to Valero this week. I already spent about an hour on the Sunday podcast breaking down the golf course. We are once again going to have our man Utah Stick at the golf course Monday through Wednesday. Shouts to the Stick Man as well for spending 16 hours at Memorial Park Tuesday and Wednesday, and his takeaway being Minwoo Lee is going to win this golf tournament. We tweeted out that clip from the Wednesday premium show as well. So he'll be back again, and be sure to follow along in the Discords and the Wednesday show for updates on the course conditions and the weather. But how do you view TPC San Antonio? What would be your early thoughts on the golf course?
Yeah, kind of a weird golf course. I don't hate it. Sort of comparing it to all the other courses we see. As we always talk about in Texas, a lot will depend on, is it firm? Is it windy? I've gone back and forth on sort of the style and the off the tee stuff specifically that I'm looking at. And I do think I'm going to be skewed a little bit more towards driving accuracy than I normally am here.
It's going to be very windy. So I do think that it's a huge challenge to hit the fairways here. The only question is, it almost acts as Valspar in a way, where driving accuracy is so much of a toss up that actually, unless you're Corey Connors and you're like insanely accurate, it is somewhat hard to separate yourself here from the pack with like good driving accuracy.
Sure, but you can certainly get into a lot of trouble off the tee here.
But you have to miss somewhat big. Like there's no rough penalty whatsoever at all. It's exactly like you saw in Houston. I mean, I could, do a 5-part video essay series on Overseed Nation and what Overseed is doing to our golf courses, and the necessity for them to make golf courses green and Augustify the shit out of every golf course. But what you're going to see at Valero again this week is essentially no missed fairway penalty, whether you hit it in the short grass or the rough. You just have to avoid the Kevin Na areas off the tee.
Yeah, exactly. But just looking at the last handful of winners here, Akshay, Connors, Spawn, Spieth, Connors, Landry, Chappell, it's iron play. I guess Chappell's the longest one of that group, but these are not bombers per se. These are iron players.
And if you look more so historically, like this is a golf course that has been incredibly kind to shorter hitters over the years. Like Grant Snedeker has been amazing here. Matt Kuchar's been amazing here. Hoffman gets it out there, I'll certainly say, but like I would not consider Spieth a bomber by any means. I mean, it's a lot like Houston. It's a lot like Phoenix RB. Like it's very similar aesthetically and in skill set to TPC Scottsdale, and that makes a lot of sense given the similarities amongst winners and leaderboard crossover at those events.
Yeah, and in terms of the driving distance thing, like I also think because the par 5s are much longer and much more difficult, not everybody can reach them in 2. I do think that levels the playing field a bit, where you get these guys who are laying up and just hitting wedges to 6 feet. It does bring a lot of guys into play.
Yes, but I also do think that you can gain a big advantage on this course if you're awesome from 250 yards plus. Like 250 yard plus proximity is 19% of approach shots last year, which makes sense because they're you have the 4 par 5s. So the 4 par 5s are longer and harder. They're some of the longest par 5s on the PGA Tour. And then I don't know if they're including the 17th hole, which is a drivable par 4 as well. But anyway, we're on a very similar page. So let's dive right into the top of the DFS pricing, which is, let me pull it up here. It is what, Ludwig or Tommy Fleetwood at the top?
10-8 for Ludwig, 10-7 for Tommy Fleetwood, Cantlay 10-2, Connors 10-1. Those are 4 guys over 10K.
Okay, give me your favorite play and your fade in the 10K range.
When Ludwig's in the field, he's my favorite play. I know the iron play has not been good at all.
It's not.
But the off the tee is still there. You know, he's still an above average putter. He should be very comfortable playing here, played well here last year. And I do think he's going to be one of the lower owned. It's not going to be a situation this week where everybody is immediately clicking the top price guy like they were pretty much every week the last month. I just feel like Corey Connors is going to be the highest owned here. And at this price, I think that's very risky. So I would say I'm going to play most of Aberg, a little bit of Fleetwood, and probably not play Connors or Patrick Cantlay.
Okay. I think you're right. Like, I do look at this 4-pack at the top of Ludwig, Fleetwood, Cantlay, and Connors. And my early guess on ownership is that Corey Connors is going to be the highest owned.
Mm-hmm.
I think my choice, however, would probably be Cantlay at 10.2. Now, the thing that's working against Cantlay is he's never seen the golf course before. And this golf course, for whatever reason, is actually has the highest correlations of course history on the entire PGA Tour. It's just a golf course, whatever it is in terms of the sight lines off the tee, what to do on the par 5s. I mean, my friend Joseph Lamagna, a frequent podcast guest, and he works over at the Fried Egg, he's been yelling about how underrated this golf course is to me for years. I'm not sure if I totally see it, but I do get what he's saying in the sense that there are a couple ways to play this golf course. And I do think that players that have played this golf course repeatedly, be it a Corey Connors or a Jordan Spieth, Keegan Bradley actually has sneaky, pretty good history here as well. Obviously, Denny and Akshay, I do think they possess a real advantage. So that would be my concern with Cantlay, but the counter argument is that this is kind of the best ball striking that we've seen from Cantlay in quite some time. Like, Cantlay is actually developing once again into a top 10 to 15 approach player in the field. He's gained over 3 strokes on approach in his last 3 events. And I look at this tier of Ludwig, Fleetwood, and Cantlay. I would probably throw Spieth and Hideki into that as well. But like, these guys all really do need a strong performance heading into the Masters and some competitive reps. Like, when's the last time that Patrick Cantlay has hit a golf shot in contention?
It has been a while.
It has been a while, right?
And this is
Does anyone in the chat know? Like, I'm not saying the last time that Cantlay won, but when is the last time that Patrick Cantlay has hit a golf shot of significant consequence in contention of a tournament on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, early at the Amex this year, early Sunday, he was there. He ended up, like, I think he shot even par that day, or maybe 1 under, and sort of faded away. But
I guess, Dave, with the players, I would say loitering. Like, I think Cantlay was on the periphery at the players. I would love to sit here and Vic lap it like it was a contending bet because I was on Cantlay at the players, but there wasn't one moment in the players where I was like, oh, Cantlay has this fucking tournament by the balls.
Yeah. And so, like you mentioned, not seeing the golf
US
course.
Open, good call. That's the answer. I mean, he hit real golf shots of consequence at Pinehurst.
So I know you mentioned, he hasn't seen the golf course. I know the schedule has changed a little bit. I don't believe Patrick Cantlay has ever played the week before the Masters. So it's also a bit of a departure from his normal routine. That gives me a little bit of pause because it just obviously makes me think he's getting ready for next week, just wants to get some reps. If he could play 36 holes and then head to Augusta early, I don't think he would mind that per se, but it's certainly a departure from what he's normally done leading into the Masters.
Maybe the chat can help me out with this one because I don't have this piece of information off the top of my head. But do you know if Akshay was already qualified for the Masters last year?
Good question. I don't believe so.
Okay, so let's
much like Spawn, I think that's what got him in.
That's what I was going to say. So let's say for the purposes, he was not. Okay, thank you, Dave. So that means that 9 of the last 12 winners of the Valero Texas Open were not qualified for the Masters.
Yep.
So take that information for what you will. Like, I'm certainly not looking at this in the top of the board and saying, let me not play any of these guys and just say that anybody who's already qualifying for the Masters doesn't care about winning this tournament. I don't think that at all. I actually think that a lot of players at the top of the board have a lot to prove this week, but it is worth noting that 9 of the last 12, which is who's the highest priced player on the slate, RB, that isn't qualified for the Masters yet?
I assume it's Daniel Berger. I would think Berger's not in, right?
I bet Daniel Berger at 40-1.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I would say he is probably, he's got to be the one.
Daniel Berger probably has to be the one at 9,200. That's the highest on the slate that isn't already qualified. Denny's qualified for the Masters, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Official OWGR top 30. Ben says Berger got in last week. Chairman Dave, that's another good one. Siwoo is probably highly priced. That's another Siwoo, the vaunted #1 spot in my model this week.
Berger did get in last week. He's right. Yep.
Okay, so it's probably Siwoo who will be on my betting card. I'm just waiting because I actually believe that number is going to draw. So anyway, you like Ludwig more so at top. I like Patrick Cantlay more so at top. Give me your favorite and least favorite in the 9K range.
So I guess Berger. I bet him as well. I think
bad course history. He hasn't played here. He hasn't played here since he hasn't played here since 2019, and he missed 2 of his cuts.
Yeah, I just think, he's had success in Texas before. He obviously won Colonial, played well in the match play. He's played well at Byron Nelson. He's played well. I think TPC Southwind has some elements of this, firm, windy. You can't be too wild off the tee, things like that. So I think he'll be fine in the wind as well. So he's definitely my favorite. I don't know. I don't hate anybody up here. I'm not going to play a 9,700 or 22-1 Jordan Spieth when he really has not shown.
Okay, so I'm higher on Spieth than you this week, and I never like Spieth. Like, I am never a Spieth guy. I could not tell you the last time that I bet Jordan Spieth, and I think something's in the air with him right now. Like, I actually think that he's gearing up at the right time. I thought his irons at Valspar looked fucking amazing. Like, this is the best that I've seen Jordan Spieth hit his irons in a very long time. And this is a golf course that Jordan Spieth has showed up in worse form that he is in now, certainly worst approach form, and almost won the whole tournament. I got to say, RB, don't like fading you because you're seeing the board quite well, at least from an outright perspective. Jordan Spieth's probably my favorite play in the 9K range this week.
And again, he might finish 4th or 3rd. Like, I just don't like buying the peak on somebody who I haven't seen put it all together. Like, I really think he only had one.
Oh, this is not the peak on Jordan Spieth, my friend. Jordan Spieth can go way higher in terms of.
But like, he played well at, I think it was Phoenix, was like the one where he was like great across the board.
My favorite
contention across the board. Yeah. And then like Cognizant, all right, he putted the lights out and had a top 10. Valspar, like you said, irons were great. Still couldn't crack the top 25 in that field. Like, I think he'll play fine. He's not going to miss a cut, but I don't really like any of these guys except for Berger, quite frankly.
I depart from you, my friend. Yeah. I think this range is packed with rock solid, great plays. Like, Spieth is my favorite. Berger and Keegan are probably my second. I mean, this is just a Keegan Bradley golf course. Like, difficult enough from tee to green, good course history. He has played well in Texas before. He has played well at this golf course before. I never worry about him keeping the ball in play off the tee. And he's one of the better approach players in the field. I mean, underratedly, Keegan Bradley, over a large sample size, just continues to be a top 20 ball striker in the world for like the last 5 years. And sometimes he gets in little slumps and sometimes he peaks, but like, Keegan Bradley is one of the most trustable ball strikers on tour in terms of overall approach play and driving accuracy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've seen a little bit more upside from him recently, especially like the last 12 months. Like that's always my concern with a guy like Keegan is I would never be shocked to see him in 6th place or 8th place or 9th place, but like, are the spike weeks with the putter there where he can actually win? And like, yeah, he got one last year. I just don't know if I see that as a win, but you know, if I was playing cash games or something like that, I think Keegan Bradley is a great choice this week.
This is a fun question that the chat was kind of touching on. I think there's a clear answer, but I think you could make the case for a couple of guys who can do the most for their betting number this week. Okay. So like
for their Masters betting number?
Correct. So who's the player that if they win, it does the most for their betting number? In my opinion, it's Spieth. I think if Spieth wins this event, he goes from 35 to 1 at the Masters to potentially like 22 to 1.
Yeah.
How much higher is Ludwig going to go?
Yeah, he's not, especially with Scotty and Rory at the prices where they are. I mean, honestly, and I haven't checked what his number is right now, but with his course history at the Masters, I mean, another Corey Connors win, he could be in the 30s, right?
100%. If Corey Connors wins this week, he's 40 to 1 tops at the Masters.
But it's got to be somebody with course history at the Masters, like Spieth or like Corey Connors. I don't really see anybody else. It would
is Hideki 20 to 1 at the Masters if he wins this week? I mean,
but he's not going to win, so it's fine.
Okay. My least favorite in the 9K range, I think. God, it's tough.
On paper, they're all good. But
where are you at on Denny? There's been a lot of Denny chatter in the Discord this morning. I like
certain guys I don't play. He would be one. Cantlay would be one. So I'm the wrong person to ask there.
Denny's going to war with the Brian Kirscher narrative of you can't win if you've had a heartbreaking loss last year.
He's playing great. I mean,
he is playing great. This is the best he's ever hit his irons in his career.
Yeah, and that was always the big knock on him because he was not long off the tee, and if you can't hit the irons, you're stuck.
Okay, let's do 8s. Give me your favorite and least favorite from the 8s.
So this is a very interesting range because I feel like overall ownership's going to be very spread out this week in the 10s, in the 9s, and the 8s, etc. I think arguments across the board. I think there's a lot of steam coming on these lower 8K guys. Like I've already seen a lot of Bud Cauley, seen a lot of Sam Stevens. I know Cauley just hit Maverick McNeely. I don't know about the Bridgman thing. I guess there's some flop lag there potentially, but I like the upper range here. I mean, much better. I would say my 3 favorites are probably the top 3: Mitchell, Finau, and Siwoo Kim.
I think you're a sick, disgusting, vile human being for going back to Keith Mitchell.
So I was blasting people who bet Finau last week.
I'm talking about Keith Mitchell. Okay. I am telling you right now, Keith Mitchell held a lot of cards for me last week, regretting me. Like if I got like a top 8 finish from Keith Mitchell, I was sitting incredibly pretty in a lot of contests. And watching Keith Mitchell's final 27 holes of that golf tournament, I'm not a blacklist guy. Like I'm really not. Like there's nothing that you can't do to get back in my good graces very quickly. And I think how to win at DFS is like capitalizing on players overreacting to what they just saw and ignoring long-term data. It's going to take a fucking lot for me to forgive Keith. It was such a clear like example of, I thought it was a perfect golf course for Keith Mitchell. Like if I was designing a golf course for Keith Mitchell, it would look exactly like Memorial Park. And he literally looked like the top of the leaderboard to him was like, it was like food coming right out of the oven. Like he would touch it and like slink away into oblivion.
Yeah, we call that Alex Smalley syndrome.
Yeah, literally.
Like I put in the Discord,
loitering around the lead. Like he doesn't want to go in the store. He just wants to hang out outside.
Yeah, I put it in the Discord yesterday. I said, look, if I could bet him to finish between 14th and 24th, I would, because that's what you're going to get from Keith Mitchell. But yeah, again, I think he's going to be one of the lower owned in this range for sure. I did bet Finau, and again, I blasted people who bet
Insane
Finau
bet. I told you his head
40.
was fucked up, man.
I know. I just look. People were betting him at 40 or less against Scotty Rory last week. I get him at 40 this week. I think this is a better golf course for him now because, like you said, he's not bombing it off the tee anymore. He's like sort of dialed it back. He's more accurate. He's played well here before. I just feel like everyone was zigging. I'm zagging. And I had room on the card for it, and I didn't want to bet anybody else. So, yeah, I do like Finau this week. I don't know.
Listen, man, the last thing I'm going to do is criticize your outright.
I would not bet Keith Mitchell. Let me be clear about that. I will
no, seriously.
Yeah.
The last thing that I'm going to do is criticize your outright selections, but we're going to have to agree to disagree on Tony. I do not like what I'm seeing on the golf course or outside of the golf course. From
sure,
Tony.
yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on. He was awful on Thursday with his irons, and then he kind of found it, and he gained a ball striking each of the last 3 days. So I'm just going to ride that and hope it works out.
Yeah, listen, you're going to find no arguments from me in terms of Tony Finau's talent. Like he is a 9K player in this field on talent alone. The golf course makes a lot of sense for him. Like I don't think that this is a golf course where you have to be a particularly elite putter to win by any stretch of the imagination. He's got an awesome short game. He's an awesome overall approach player. I think he could take real advantage of the par fives and reach some of the par fives in two. He's got great proximity from 250 yards plus. He's really good at hitting the green from like 260 yards with a 5 wood. I'm with you on all of those things. I just think there's something missing off the golf course for him right now. I'll tell you my 2 favorites in the 8K range, and I talked about them at length in my Sunday show, so I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm just riding the Bud thing until the wheels fall off.
Sure.
Does 50% of my brain say sell high? Of course it does. And maybe if it was a different golf course, then maybe I would be selling high. But I don't think that 55-1 on Bud is an unfair price right now at all, based on the way that he's playing. I mean, Bud gained 8 strokes on approach at the Valspar. And I do think that this is one of those cases where I'm not saying that this is going to be like Michael Kim, where it's going to last for 6 straight weeks, but I have no reason to hop off the Bud Cauley train right now. Like my numbers have identified this player as somebody that is here legitimately. And maybe he comes back to earth and regresses this week. That's certainly in the range of outcomes, but I'm not hopping off the train. He's one of my guys.
Yeah. I said the same thing last week about Ryan Gerard, and he just crushed again. And then I bet him again this week. So yeah, I think there are certain guys who have certainly kind of elevated their game. With Bud, it was coming back from the injury. He's been out, most of the last few years, but he's not great at that super long iron range, like the above 220, 250 range. So I guess like that would be the one knock, but he's playing great, borderline top 50 in the world the way he's playing right now.
And then Siwoo as well.
Yep.
Like, I just think that the course history here, he's played here 7 times. He has 4 top 25 finishes. He's awesome on par 5s, like his par 5 numbers, his overall approach numbers. He's got one of the best short games in the world right now. Like Siwoo's gained 13 strokes around the greens in his last 12 rounds of golf. Like he has elite short game right now. And I think that he's good at everything. I think the strongest counter argument to Siwoo is that when's the last time he's hit a golf shot of consequence in a tournament on Sunday? When's the last time that Siwoo Kim has been close to the top of the leaderboard on Sunday afternoon?
It's been a while, but like you're saying,
can the chat think of anything? I can't think of the last time that Siwoo Kim has hit a golf shot of consequence on Sunday afternoon on the PGA Tour.
No, he did not contend all of last year for sure.
He didn't contend all of last year, but he just racked top 25s.
He's doing it again. Like, I think so. Yeah. He is playing better than the results show, I think. And you just look at the strokes gained stuff. It's just that he hasn't put it all together yet. Like, he's got some really good short game weeks, a couple good putting weeks, a bunch of good iron weeks, a bunch of decent off the tee weeks, and they just haven't fallen on the same week. But he's back home. I assume he lives in Dallas, right? Like, this is his area. He should be very comfortable playing here. He's played this golf course great historically. Wouldn't shock me. He's not in the Masters, like you said. He's got a lot to play for. So, yeah, I like Siwoo this week.
I like that. I like that he's not in the Masters. Okay, let's talk through the 7K range and why Rico H at 7,600 is the best play on the slate.
I mean, yeah, I posted last night that I was ready to fire at like 100 to 1, and then he's like 60 to 1, and I just couldn't do it.
I bet him 65.
Yeah,
I agree. I was hoping for 80.
I love him this week. I just couldn't do it. I just think from the mid sevens up, I think everybody here is in play, except maybe Matt Fitzpatrick, who's broken. But I mean, Rico's going to be popular. I assume Novak's going to be popular again. Everybody and their mother bet Lee Hodges. Everybody and their mother bet Ryan Gerard.
Okay, so I wanted to ask on that, and Golf Tips Checker, our boy, is in the Discord now, and he's also in the live chat here as well.
Yeah.
I looked at the Lee Hodges and Ryan Gerard Steam this morning, and I have to say, I agree with both of those. Probably Hodges a little bit more than Gerard, because at least Hodges has played well at this golf course before. He has a 6th place finish here in 2023. I gotta say, I did not expect them to be most tipped.
Yeah, kind of surprising there, but Ryan Gerard is just playing incredibly well across the board. The ball striking has been amazing. He had another, I think he led he was close to the top in strokes. He was
close to the top in strokes gain approach.
Yeah, just another top 10. He struggles around the green, and I don't think around the green is as important here, obviously, as it was last week. Still important. I mean, there's lots of bunkers, still some runoffs, but not like last week was. But yeah, just playing tremendous. And again, I like the guys coming off the Korn Ferry Tour who won and consistently contended, and that's exactly what he was. So kind of the same thesis as the Bud Cauley thing. I'm just going to keep riding it because he's just elevated his game and played better. But yeah, I think Lee Hodges is probably the best value on the board. And I mean, I got him 80 last night. I think he dropped a little bit this morning, but probably still some.
Which do you like better, Gerard or Hodges in a vacuum?
Hodges.
Yeah, I think I
think just because he's done it before, like we saw him win. Yeah. I think we've seen him win, and we've seen it consistently. But look, in this range, I mean, I think Woodland's going to be popular again. I have no issue going back there.
I'm so jealous that I wasn't on him last week, because it made so much sense in the world. Like last week at Houston, I think it's the easiest handicap on tour, because even the guys that I wasn't on, I was like, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. Like it's all driver putter or driver short game guys. Like even the guys that I wasn't on, like Valimaki and Woodland that I had FOMO on, I was like, oh, these guys make all the sense in the freaking world. And you could just roll into Houston like Minwoo Lee, Wyndham Clark, Taylor Pendrith, like they're all the same guy. And then if you look at the guys at the bottom of the board that slammed, your Valimakis, your Gary Woodlands, your Ryan Fox, who we did have, who was up there for a while, they're all essentially different versions of the same skill set. I got to say, like, I think last week was the week for Woodland. I think you got his high range of outcome.
Yeah, I agree. And again, as I mentioned, he led the field in putting. That's not ever going to happen again, probably for the rest of his career. But he also was great off the tee and great with approach. So it's not like it was just skewed there. And 8th and 6th, his last 2 appearances here. I was glad to still get a 60 to 1 on him. Like I thought he could be much lower than that after that finish. But really the only guys that I would not play and I will not play in this range, Matt Fitzpatrick, Harry Hall, Fowler, and Harmon. I think those would be the 4 guys that I really don't have interest in. Knapp, flop lag, I think he can still play well here. And everybody, I'm not going to play Kitayama. Sorry, fuck that guy.
I don't know. My house guests this weekend were pretty pleased with their stay on Kitayama Island. I think he kind of stunk on Sunday, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think from an iron play perspective, he fits this course great. But is he going to hit every driver into the gorse bushes? Probably. It's probably going to happen. So yeah, no Kitayama this week.
I have to think about that one a little bit further. Okay, let's finish off here because I have another podcast to hop into in a second for Masters Week. Give me, I guess like very low 7K range. If
Mhm.
there's some guys that you didn't hit in there,
Yep.
and then bottom of the board, your favorites in the sixes as well.
Yeah, not much down there, so that'll be easy. But sort of low sevens. I bet Tom Hoagie. I don't know if he'll make your card, but I know that you were fairly high on that iron play as well.
On the short list for sure.
And yeah, I'm super encouraged by what he did at Sawgrass. That's a perfect golf course for him, but he's played well here as well. So I definitely like that. We've seen signs of life now from Eric Cole. I was actually close to betting him. I did not do it because I feel like he's just going to finish 12th or 19th or something. But our biggest knock on Eric Cole was that he couldn't hit a fairway. And he seems to have found some accuracy with his driver over the past handful of events. So, yeah, that's encouraging. Keep running Victor Perez until we see otherwise.
And
yeah, I wouldn't fault anybody for going back to Valimaki. Like, not a great course for him, but he led in strokes gained tee to green last week and also played well at Valspar, which, again, pretty similar course to this. Probably more of a top 40 guy, but I wouldn't blame you for going back there. I think that's it for the low sevens for me. Probably those four.
I'm going right back to Matty Schmidt. He missed the cut on the number for us, but
because he can't putt. Yeah.
He's got some putting upside though. Like it was the driver failed him on the 17th hole.
Yeah.
Big time. He ended up missing the cut on the number, but I mean, he's played okay at this golf course in the past. And he's another one of those guys that, like, he is awesome on the par fives. He is awesome from 250 yards plus. I really think that he has the long iron approach play to be able to take advantage of these par fives and gain an advantage by hitting some of these par fives in two. Tom Hoagie is another guy that fits that bill as well, who's great with the long irons. The other guys that I was looking at here that are popping for me towards the bottom of the board, Victor Perez, obviously, I'm going right back to him, and Mac Meisner at 7,100. Great approach play. We were on him last week. He made the cut for us. I think finished middle of the pack. I have no reason to. In fact, this is a better golf course for Meisner than Houston was, because last week was more. The biggest difference between this golf course and Houston is that I would swap all of the distance stuff you had and put that more on overall approach play. So Meisner, for example, is like not the longest hitter in the field by any means, but he's a phenomenal overall approach player. I think that's his greatest skill in his arsenal. So Meisner for me is Meisner, Schmid, Hoagie. I actually don't mind Chris Kirk here at 7,400 as well. I think he's starting to come around. Those would be my favorites in the sevens. I think the 6K range is pretty bleak. I mean, the only guys that I had circled right now from a numbers perspective are Svensson and Sig. Just like two old school
guys
solid.
We always play. What's the upside with them is sort of the argument always.
Not much, it feels like.
I only have a few guys down here. I did make a bet. It's a dumb bet, but like we bet Stephen Fisk last week at, I don't know, I think it was 250 last week. He's 300 today. He missed the cut on the number with elite ball striking. He just couldn't putt last week. I believe in his talent overall. I think he's one of the best players ball striking wise in this range. So he's at 6,600. The only other names I have interest in, I'm going to go back to Ricky Castillo again.
Ricky Katz murdered me last week. RB.
He can't putt.
Murdered me. Kyle sold me on Ricky Katz, and Ricky Katz, like, I had two 6 of 6s that became 5 of 6s because of Ricky Katz. Yep.
Flop lag on Danny Walker. He again, he missed the cut. I think he was on the number last week, but he shot a second round 65. He just ejected on Thursday. He just finished 6th at the Players. Like, I'm going to ride that for at least a month, probably, until, he completely shits the bed again. And then our college player of the week, Ben James. So we played him at Travelers a couple of years ago. He is in that upper echelon of like Hogan Award winners and things. He is only in this field because he won the Valero Collegiate in the fall at this golf course. I believe he shot 69, 69, 66. So again, he's seen the golf course multiple times, won at this golf course. Big believer in the Ben James upside at 6,800 this week.
All right, RB. When are you off to Augusta?
Going up on
Okay. Didn't like that question.
I'm still here.
No worries. Well, I think I'm ready to end the show. If anyone
Yeah,
has any more questions.
I
Yeah.
think you guys got it. That was a great show.
We have a Masters 25% off promo as well that I would mention. Personally, I would say if you're smart and if you like what we're doing at Inside Sports and you've had a positive experience with our content, I mean, we're just going to continue to add to it and stuff. We've made a heavy investment in Utah Stick, and he's going to be providing coverage at most golf tournaments going forward. I would sign up for the yearly right now with the code personally, because it's the lowest price you're ever going to lock in the yearly, as opposed to just paying month to month.
Yeah, we won't be doing any more promos, I don't think, this year.
No, don't need to.
No.
No.
I mean, we wanted to go hard for the Masters and give people an opportunity, and I think we did it. And I mean, it's working out so far, and we're getting a lot of people coming in and trying out the monthly and yearlies now. So
we'll be working hard for you. We'll be grinding. Yeah. I believe in it. Sue me. Okay. All right. That's it from me, guys. I will see you all in the Discord, and got a fun podcast episode that I'm about to record right now. That'll be up on the feeds later this evening or tomorrow morning. Cheers.